Hello and welcome to a video on how to solder wires to your side of your rail, or underside. I get asked this question many times when I'm at shows and I try to explain things to it. It's fairly straightforward. There's 3 steps to it. The first one is you just need to clean the area that you're going to solder. You then need to tin both surfaces, both the rail and the wire you're doing, and then effectively you join the two together. Tools you're going to need: a pair of wire cutters or wire strippers. Got these preset ones from DC Concepts. You can adjust how much of the insulation take off with these, or I can regularly use a pair of wire cutters like that. Just depends on how confident you are with the tools. Also going to need a soldering iron. This is an old Antex 25 watts soldering iron. I've had that donkey's years. But dare I say, I've had many different heating elements, tips, and even a different cable to it. But it's the same handle. You're also going to need a fibre tip brush, sometimes known as a burnishing brush. It's what we use for cleaning the side of the rail beforehand. Expo Tools do these. They do 2 versions. You want really the more high quality version. The fibre tip brush itself is actually that much stiffer, and it is prone to break off, but that's not necessarily a good thing, and it takes rubbish and paint off the side of rails quite happily. You're going to need a cotton wool bud and some isopropyl alcohol as well to chemically clean the surface of the rail. And finally, I'll also use a pair of tweezers for helping to hold the wire in place at the end when you're soldering it to the rail. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean the rail up. So this is where we use a burnishing brush or a fibre tip pencil. I've already pre-drilled a hole through to the side of the rail through my baseboard. Normally you wouldn't do this on a piece of ballasted track or weathered track. You'd do it on a piece of fresh, but this is a demonstration board I've got. And you just simply, with the burnishing brush, wiggle it around a bit, and you'll see that you'll get that the rail side of the rails comes up nice and clean. I have seen some people use this with a little polishing wheel on a Dremel, and I always wonder if that's a bit too excessive, and in fact you're going to end up damaging the side of the rail, or not the sleepers. So as you can see, the great thing about using this is you can see how much difference of colour there is between what we've just cleaned versus the original condition rail. So that's obviously nice and polished clean. What we will then do is, we've got some isopropyl alcohol in the bottle, pop it on the end of the cotton wool bud, and what that allows us to do is just chemically clean the area. So we've got all the rubbish and mucky stuff off with the burnishing brush, but here we'll just get rid of the oils and anything else that's lingering around that you physically can't remove with that. So having done that, what we'll then do is we will tin the side of the rail. So clean, we'll put a dab of solder onto the soldering iron. This is pre-fluxed or rosin cord solder, so we don't have to apply any additional flux. So we put the solder to the side of the foot there, and just quickly dab in our soldering iron. It should just literally be a quick one in. As you see, we've got a nice little blob of solder there on the side of the rail. Now it comes to our piece of dropper wire or track wire. What we're going to do is we're going to strip off roughly about 15mm off the end of this. And what I'll do is I won't pull this insulation off all the way. Is I'll pull about 5mm off. I'll then start twisting it and so what we then end up with is it all nicely twisted together, and we don't have any stray wires. Again, we will tin the wire. And just make sure we get a nice covering of solder all the way through. Again, I haven't used any external or additional flux or anything. So what we do is we'll feed the wire in from underneath. You can easily drop it in from the top, whichever, doesn't overly matter. We'll put a 90-degree bend in to start off with, as we're going to solder our wire along the length of the rail for about 3 mil. And that will effectively give us a nice mechanical joint. And because the wire hole is just a little bit away from the inside the rail there, we'll just pop a small 45-degree angle in there as well, something like that. So what we'll do, with the help of a pair of tweezers, we'll just hold that in place there, and then with our soldering iron, which has already just got a little bit of solder on there, it will just quickly go in, and there you have it. That's one wire soldered on. One of our reasons why I do take off about 10 to 15 mil is I don't want any of the insulation showing through the rail or showing through the top of the baseboard. The great thing obviously about having the bare metal is it will take paint and adhere to paint and doesn't get caught so easily when you're rubbing the track. I've seen quite a few installations where you've got a very small bit of insulation taken off the side of the wire, and most of the insulation's then seen through here. Although it gets painted, the paint gets knocked off when the track's been worked on from track cleaning and the like, and it just sort of stands out like a sore thumb. And I say the amount of touching done on there was sort of half a second, if that. If you put it on there for too long, you've got the potential to melt the sleepers. But the key thing here is to just clean and pre-tin everything. I've seen it, or results where people have put bare wire to bare rail and put in solder, and it just looks a mess and it just never takes. So the key thing simply is clean, tin, and then just join. And if it doesn't take first time, don't hold it on there for another 2 or 3 seconds, take it off, come back to it, let it cool down, and then try again. So simple as that. It's not overly difficult. I mean, just get a spare pair of rail, cash piece of rail, and try it on one that's, you know, off cut before you want to try it on your layout. I know some people will pre-solder the rail and put the joints on the underside so you can't see them. That's absolutely fine. Doing it on the side of the rail like that there's no reason why you can't do that, and especially if you're going to ballast it and weather it afterwards, you're not going to notice. When people come into the shop and want to see how we do the wiring on the layout in the shop, people can't see the joints. Sometimes I struggle to find where they are as well, because we've ballasted and we've weathered the side of the rail, and it's not that noticeable. Yeah, so simple as that.